It's time to welcome the Wine Ladies with Georgia and Suzanne. An entertaining hour topped up with great ideas about wine, where to dine, anything and everything to do with the vine. Great conversation, lots of laughter, guests from all walks of life, food and wine, music, art, sports, and much more, all on The Wine Ladies.
Hi everybody, it's us, the Wine Ladies.
I'm Georgia.
And I'm Suzanne, and welcome to the Wine Ladies One Sip at a Time. We're live here today in studio.
And of course, to all of our friends and fans on Facebook, Twitter, and thewineladies.com, as always, thanks for sending in all your questions and your comments. I also want to remind everybody that if you don't already like us on the Wine Ladies Facebook fan page, today would be a great day to do that, Suzanne, because we have a little contest going, and everybody that likes us, your name will go into the draw for a $25 gift certificate to our accessory store.
That's right. We've got awesome gifts for the holiday period, from beautiful gift bags to gorgeous, gorgeous chocolate, all specifically designed to marry up with wine. They're absolutely fantastic. So make sure you like us, and we will be drawing the winner on Sunday, November the 20th.
Right on. Now, also, Suzanne, another little order of business I'd like to take care of. I want to remind everybody about our Holiday Mix and Mingle event that's coming up on November 17th. Experience some wonderful wines from around the world, amazing appetizers, while we have an incredible entertainer there. It is taking place at the beautiful Rumi Galleries in Mississauga, November 17th.
Okay, it is going to be a great opportunity to mix and mingle, meet some new friends. You might need a mate. Mix a case. It's going to be a fantastic night. The doors open at 7 p.m. at Rumi Galleries in Mississauga. All right, so let's go on with the show.
Okay.
So as always, which is tradition on our show, we always toast. So let's raise our oversized glasses in cheers to today's show.
Cheers, everybody. And in our glasses, we have today the Burning Kiln. It's a new winery in the South Coast in Ontario. It is called their Strip Room 2010. It is a blend of a Cab Franc and Merlot. It is absolutely wonderful. It is very full. It's got intense plum and blackberry and cherry in it. Here it is. It is absolutely a wonderful, wonderful wine. Strip Room from Burning Kiln in Ontario.
Oh, you know what, Georgia? But we are actually going to deviate from the vine today,
Yes.
and we're going to take a little bit of a different path. And you know what? The reports are showing that there's actually a new beverage that seems to be winning the hearts of women everywhere.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, we all love chocolate and flowers and candles, but today we're going to be talking, believe it or not, about bourbon.
Bourbon, you say?
That's right, bourbon.
Yes, it's true. Now listen, just recently, Business Week magazine attributed this phenomenon to a group of professional women. They call themselves the Bourbon Women, who have become very enamored with this wonderful Kentucky sweet spirit, and they are hosting these bourbon tastings all over North America.
Okay, so joining us in studio today to give us the scoop on this phenomenon, this women's movement, is Kentucky's own bourbon expert, master distiller for Four Roses Bourbon, Jim Rutledge. Welcome to the Wine Ladies, Jim.
Thank you, and it's good to be here.
You were causing quite the sensation there with all the sirens going.
It sounded like quite a welcome.
It's welcoming you to Toronto.
So tell us, so we've heard through the grapevine that the Toronto women have also been getting involved in this Bourbon Women kind of wine, tasting parties. What's going on here? Why this great interest now in bourbon by the female population?
Well, I think over the recent years, we go back 20, 25 years, and the gender ratio was about 85% male drinkers, 15% female, and that's the gap has narrowed dramatically over recent years. It's now roughly 60-40.
Wow.
And there's more and more women drinking bourbon. There's more and more people around the world drinking bourbon. And a lot of the introduction to bourbon to new people are a result of premium bourbons that have been introduced, or first introduced in the 1980s, and single barrel bourbons, small batch bourbons have just illustrated that there is another whiskey around the world than Scotch. And it's introduced to so many new people, and a lot of women are drinking bourbon now. And another reason is
But why? Why are they drinking it?
Well, the cocktail craze also, and bourbon is a favorite of mixologists. It's so versatile. You mentioned just a minute ago the sweet drink from Kentucky. And bourbon is a sweet drink, and that is because bourbon is aged in a brand new barrel each and every time. Once a barrel is used for bourbon, it can never be used for that again, or if it's used for anything, it must be brand new. And we all use white oak barrels, which are very rich and abundant in natural sugars. So the sweet flavors from bourbon, come from the natural sugars that present in the white oak barrels that we use.
Okay, so bourbon is a whiskey, but not all whiskeys are bourbon. And that has to do with the regulations with the white oak. The barrel has to be only used once, or it has to be a brand new barrel. Are there any other sort of regulations that determine that what makes it a bourbon?
There are. Bourbon has to be made with at least 51% corn. That's just the minimum. Most bourbons are made with 75% to close to 80%.
Okay.
Has to be distilled at less than 80% alcohol. Must be aged in the brand new oak barrel each and every time. The barrel's charred on the inside.
Okay.
And the maximum strength that it can be aged in a barrel is 62.5%.
Now, are these all world standards? So anyone that makes bourbon?
Anyone that makes bourbon must be in the United States.
Okay.
So bourbon is a product distinctive to the United States of America.
Like champagne is of France, bourbon is of the U.S. Okay.
Exactly. And I think one of the most important requirements, at least to me, is the fact that bourbon cannot be adulterated in any way. Can't have flavors added, caramel, like most whiskey drinks, even tequilas, rums, that we use caramel, like a Scotch or a Canadian whiskey or American blended whiskey. All types of whiskey can use caramel to achieve the color, consistency. Some can have additives, flavor additives. Bourbon is 100% natural. What comes off the still goes into the barrel, what's aged in the barrel. When we come off the top of the still at a strength higher than barrel proof, we can reduce it in strength to the barrel proof with water. Ages in barrels, then we can add water to reduce it to bottle strength, and that's the only thing that can be done to bourbon.
Okay, so the
Only
color
water.
to bourbon comes from the aging in the barrels.
The char of the barrels.
Right, okay.
And the majority of the flavor, as I mentioned, the sweet flavors come from the natural sugars. And if you look at bourbon as a category, about 66% of all flavor in bourbon as a category comes from the aging process, the sugars of the wood.
I'm wondering, do they do like there's a lot of wine tasting parties. People do that type of thing. Do they do that with bourbon as well? Bourbon tasting?
Absolutely. I've been doing bourbon tastings, events across the U.S., in Europe, Japan, for a lot of years.
So you can join a bourbon club if you want.
If you want to.
Well, we got to join the Bourbon Women Club. That's the one we've got to get.
Like that.
Now, we had said, or you said at the top of the hour about the romance behind the bourbon. You were liking it to flowers and chocolate.
Well,
that
he's
have
got
here.
4 roses on his shirt.
Exactly.
Well,
you've got
pretty romantic to me.
Yeah, you've got a good story behind the name 4 Roses. That's steeped in romance. So maybe you can tell us about that.
It is, and it is an unusual name for a bourbon whiskey, which for years had a masculine, macho type image, which was not fair, but that's the image of the old John Wayne type Western movies. But we actually started in the 1860s in Atlanta, Georgia. Right after the Civil War, a father and son, Paul Jones Sr., Paul Jones Jr., had opened a small grocery store and small distribution warehouse. Among other things, they were warehousing with tobacco products and all type beverage alcohols. And Paul Jr. became interested in distillation and eventually purchased a distillery near Atlanta. And during this same period of time, he was also courting a young lady in Atlanta. And after a period of courtship, he had decided to ask for her hand in marriage. And they agreed that the night of an upcoming grand ball that they were to attend together, that if she were to accept his proposal of marriage, she would signify so that evening by wearing a corsage of 4 red roses. And if the answer were no, she'd wear 3. So she wore the 4 roses, and in honor of the occasion, the passion and love, he named the whiskey that he was making 4 Roses. And
now that's true love, to have a drink named after you. I love that idea. Wow.
And Paul Jr. moved the company to Kentucky in 1884 after Georgia. Back in those years, there was a lot of states enacting statewide prohibitions, and Georgia was one of the first states. And that happened in 1884. He moved the Paul Jones Company to Kentucky, opened his first office on Main Street in Louisville, and back in those years, there were hundreds of small distilleries in Kentucky, many of them having their offices on Main Street, and eventually became known as Whiskey Row.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Well, I'm sure we're going to learn a lot more about this, but we're going to go to a quick break. You're watching The Wine Ladies here on thatchannel.com. A lot more to come with Jim Rutledge, and we're going to learn all about bourbon. I can hardly wait. We'll be right back.
Hey, Georgia. Hey, Suzanne. Welcome to Girls' Night Out. Did you remember the wine?
Of course, after all, we're the wine ladies.
We're in the kitchen, so what wine did you bring?
Well, for our girls' night out, we brought Girls' Night Out. I brought the Chardonnay. I brought the Merlot.
Well, my guy bought me this.
Too funny, the Rosé. Well, let the party begin.
Girls Night Out Wines. Hugely popular VQA wines best enjoyed with friends. Available at the LCBO and other fine retail locations. For more information, go to girlsnightoutwines.com.
Hey, Suzanne, it's the only machine that I need.
I know, it's a great workout in just a fraction of the time.
It made me get excited about workouts again.
T-Zone Vibration is making people sit up and take notice. Employing the newest technology and fitness equipment, T-Zone Vibration gives you an hour workout in just 10 minutes.
Try it. Believe it. You'll want to bring one home.
T-Zone Vibration.
Call 905-483-8676. T-Zone Vibration, 905-483-8676. InBeauty Med Spa is constantly researching the latest innovations from around the world and bringing them home to you. It's a wonderful meeting of Eastern philosophies of skin and body care with exciting and innovative Western technology. All the InBeauty Med Spa health and wellness programs are medically supervised. A physician and dietitian are also available for client consultations. InBeauty Med Spa. Inspire the nature of beauty. Visit inbeautyspa.com.
Well, back to the show. We've got Jim Rutledge today from Four Roses Bourbon Company, all the way from Kentucky. And we've just got a little bit of information about this fantastic new beverage that seems to have captured the attention of women all over the place.
Absolutely. The hearts and the palates.
The hearts and the palates. And I think we're going to get to try some of this bourbon today.
Well, I sure hope so. I mean, I'm ready.
And we've got some chocolate as well to marry up with it.
So maybe, Jim, you can tell us, you brought 3 different bourbons in.
Right.
And there's a specific order that we're going to go in, so maybe you can sort of tell us what we can look forward to, where we should start.
I think probably we'll start out with our regular bourbon, Four Roses Yellow Label, and then we'll move down to the small batch and then the single barrel.
Okay.
And we go 40% alcohol, 45%, and 50%. And we're the only distillery that does this. We're the only distillery that I know of any kind that has more than one proprietary yeast. We have 5.
Okay.
And using 2 grain recipes, we distill and we age separately in barrels by themselves 10 bourbon recipes.
Okay.
And at
Based
the end,
on these different yeasts? And
the 5 yeasts with the 2 grain recipes.
Okay.
And we'll use 5 with each one of the recipes. And that's how we achieve 10 recipes. And that's one of the biggest unique differences in Four Roses versus other bourbons. And that all these will be different by formula design. We use all 10 recipes with our Yellow Label bourbon, and the purpose of that was to achieve consistency. There's no 2 barrels ever in inventory that will taste alike. Every barrel will have its own fingerprint of flavor, and when that happens, and because of that, it's impossible to achieve the same flavor profile time after time. And the reason behind our 10 recipes, the theory is that if we have 10 unique recipes and then we've come time for a bottling run, we sample the barrels, we tweak that form a little more one, less of another, or more or less
I
age
see.
here or
So
there.
that's part of your job, what you need to do.
That's actually more of a blender's job.
A blender's job,
My
okay.
focus has always been on the distillation process, what goes into the barrel,
I see.
doing it right the
Okay.
first time, then it comes out right. But that takes a lot of time to mix and mingle, and that's somebody we have specifically designated as our quality manager to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we use 4 of our recipes for our small batch bourbon,
Okay.
and we use 1 recipe of the 10 for a single barrel, and the single barrel is not used. The single barrel recipe is not used as one of the 4 for small batch.
Oh, okay.
So they're totally different. So when you sample the 3 glasses, you'll start off with the Yellow Label, but then when you try the small batch and single barrel, It's good if you just pick them up, smell them side by side. You'll see a dramatic difference. And no other distillery can really do that because we're the only distillery that has more than one yeast. And the yeast we use for single barrels, not one of two we use for small batch. Taste them side by side. And when I sit on tasting panels evaluating whether it be bourbons or scotches or for a magazine of some kind or whiskey panel, I always look at them, look at the color, smell them, taste them, make my notes, and come back and add just a couple drops of water, and it opens the
What's
flavor.
that? Oh, is that why
Yeah.
you do that?
Right.
Okay.
You know, and it's best to use cold water, and if it would be actually better to use a small ice cube rather than warm water. It
Now,
opens
the glasses
flavor
you
more.
brought too, I had a question about that. Is that typically the type of glass that the bourbons are served in?
There's different kinds, and this is just one. Now, when we use a glass like this, we will put what we call a watch glass, like a disc over top. And when I taste something, I will have it up to my nose and flip that glass off because some aromas will disappear very rapidly. And so I'm up here, smell it, and flip it off and put it back on. So this can be used. And there are other glasses that are similar to an hourglass in shape that are designed to hold those aromas in the glass without having them escape, without having to use a watch glass.
Oh, that's very interesting. And I was going to ask you, when you were describing the different yeasts and the different recipes, first of all, is there sort of a taste profile in general that one can expect when tasting bourbon? Now, having asked that question, now with all the different recipes, and you're saying they're so different, does that question still apply? Are there like sort of is there a basic profile that you'll get with each of the bourbons?
You know, I'd almost have to ask you, is there a basic profile with wine? There are so many similarities that people haven't realized in the past, just like there's wine tastings that have been forever.
Right.
There are so many bourbon tastings now. And every bourbon distillery, we do basically the same thing. We operate basically the same way. We will all have our unique flavors of bourbon.
Okay.
And even with on Four Roses, the unique thing again about Four Roses is because of the 10 recipes we distill and age, every one of ours will taste different because it's going to be made different with a different blend formula.
Okay.
Now, what would be a typical food item that you would recommend to enjoy with bourbon?
Anything.
Anything
goes.
and everything will
That's
go.
right.
That
Okay.
sounds like us with wine. Anything goes.
Oh,
I'm
and
having a
it's true.
pancake.
You
Give me a
just
Gewürztraminer.
love bourbon.
Absolutely.
All right.
And a lot of chefs now cook with bourbon,
Yes.
and I've done a lot of bourbon dinners with as many as a 5-course meal. Every course
Wow.
prepared with bourbon in some way. Now,
And
when-
matched up with the bourbon.
and matched up with a bourbon or a cocktail of some kind prior to the each course.
Very nice.
And it's so versatile, and I love to grill out, and whether it be a white meat, a chicken, or a pork, or red meat, or even hamburger. It will be marinated in
barbecue.
bourbon before the meat itself will be marinated. I've made barbecue sauce with bourbon, but marinate the meat, and when it's being grilled and cooked, that alcohol will vaporize
Right.
and leaving behind the flavors like the spiciness from the
That
rye,
sounds really
or the sweet
delicious,
flavors
actually.
from the sugars of the wood, or the
Right.
fruit flavors from the yeast, and leaves those behind, and it also will tenderize the meat in the process.
Oh,
and
okay.
so it's really good to cook with, and of course the pairings. You know, a light bourbon like a Yellow Label would go well with fish or perhaps chicken. And one of the heavier, more robust, full-bodied small batch or single barrel, perhaps with a steak or some kind of a red meat.
Okay, it's very
Now,
similar
what
to
about
wine.
martinis? Martinis are all the rage right now. Are there any interesting bourbon martinis that you can make?
Well, I was going to say martini. If it's a martini, for me to try, it'd have to be made with bourbon.
Okay.
But,
There he goes again. It's all about the bourbon.
You know, there's a lot of drinks that are served in martini glasses.
Yeah.
But they're not martinis. One, you know, the Manhattans, the old,
Oh,
the
yeah, the
old
Manhattan.
drinks are coming back. The old fashions,
The gimlets and all that.
Right, they're all coming back in,
Yeah.
and then the mixologist of today and the cocktail craze. the mixologists love bourbon because it is so versatile and they can do so many different things with it. And I've tasted some really good cocktails, and I'm primarily drink bourbon either neat or with a little bit of ice, and that's all. But I've tasted some really good cocktails. I've tasted some I don't like, and the variety is just it's so broad. It's unbelievable.
I think we should taste one right now. I mean, I know we have a cocktail coming up later, but maybe we should start off with
Sounds great.
tasting. Like, I'm salivating here.
All right.
Let's give it a shot.
So this is the yellow label.
This is your yellow label.
Okay.
And
Okay.
this is actually the #1 selling bourbon in most Western European countries, and it's #1 in Japan.
Oh, is it really? Okay. Okay, wait.
So you're supposed to swirl like in wine?
It's not necessary, but I usually do because when I'm drinking, I always like to swirl and smell and taste. Swirl,
It doesn't
smell,
elevate
and
the
taste.
alcohol because you hear different
Like we do
things
it
that-
automatically.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I probably do
What's
also,
the
but it's
protocol?
not really elevating the
Okay.
strength. No.
No, but it doesn't make it more forward when you swirl it. The alcohol, you know what I mean, like the smell of it. It doesn't do anything like that.
I don't
so we don't
think
have
so.
to worry about that.
No, you don't have to
Okay.
worry
So
about
this is
that.
about this is about 40% alcohol. Is that
Yes.
this one? Okay.
And
I'm
this
gonna
is
give
our
it a
youngest
try.
bourbon,
Okay.
which is 6.5 years average age on
Okay.
this. Now, bourbon, unlike Scotch, which Scotch will, the perception is always gets better with age. More age, the better. And that's not always true, but with bourbon will actually peak in maturity between 5 years and 8 years age.
Okay.
And the majority of the flavor in the new barrel, the majority of the color, the majority of the flavor happens the first year, and then it slowly picks up a little more color and more flavors through the rest of the years.
Okay.
But when those sugars have been dissipated in the barrel, and the bourbon in the barrel then will begin to pick up too much of the woody character itself. So we have
see.
about 6 months to use that barrel before it becomes really too woody.
Well, I've tried it, and it is quite delicious, and it goes on and on and on in your mouth afterwards.
Okay,
There's
let
a nice
me try it.
soft,
Wait a
long
second.
finish.
Here, give that a
Okay,
try.
yes, because I haven't tasted it yet.
Jim, just move that bottle. Just put the label towards me, so yeah, exactly. So our viewers can see that. See, it goes on and on and on.
It does, and there's a little bit of spice in there, I find. It's a
There's
little bit of
from the
that.
high rye content that we use far more rye, small flavoring grain than any other bourbon.
Okay.
So there will always be some spices
Yes.
in bourbon that are not traditionally in other bourbons.
Oh, okay.
And the ones I usually, when I smell them, I can pick up the essence of nutmeg and cinnamon generally, and some of the heavier bodied, but perhaps an allspice.
Oh, yeah, that's maybe what it is. I was just
Yeah.
going like this, and I was thinking, what is that? It's a little bit of a caramelly kind of thing in there as
Now
well,
that
I
is
find.
the caramel,
Yeah.
the vanilla, perhaps a maple syrup.
Yeah.
Those are derived from the natural sugars of the wood. Those are
Okay.
the sweet flavors. A lot of people will define them as the woody characters of a bourbon, and to me that sounds like taste of wood.
Right.
But what they're really saying is the sweet flavors, like those three.
The white
Okay,
oak
and that comes from the torching of the barrels.
Well, that
and the white oak.
the charring of the wood does two things.
Yeah.
Number one, it provides 100% of the color
Uh-huh.
of the bourbon, but it also opens the pores of the wood. And as Kentucky is perfect for the bourbon process in several ways. One of them is the temperature and the humidity. We have about as many hot days as cold days throughout the year. And on the very hot days, the liquid will expand and penetrate into the wood. Cold days, it's out of the wood, so that's in and out of the wood is
So it
the
absorbs it.
manner in which it picks up the sugar flavors. So the charring of the wood, without charring, we wouldn't get the color, and it would be the surface about like your table here of aging, and nothing would happen. Even though it's a wood barrel, very little action would
Okay.
happen without the charring.
I see.
and
So is it
opening
in
of the pores.
temperature-controlled areas, or is
No.
it natural? So
It's
whatever
natural.
the temperature is in Kentucky is what you're getting.
That works the best. I think nothing works better than Mother Nature. Now, there are some distilleries that have run experiments with climate-controlled warehouses and trying to enhance the process
Flavor.
by exaggerating the temperature changes by heating, cooling, and getting a lot of temperature changes. And in my opinion, and most of the old guys that are distillers will tell you that there's nothing works better than
Mother Nature.
That's right.
Yeah. That sounds like you're cheating when you're making it go up and down.
All
like
right,
that.
well,
I
we're
don't
going to
know.
go to another break, and we'll be right back with lots more bourbon.
Hey, Georgia. Hey, Suzanne. Welcome to Girls Night Out. Did you remember the wine?
Of course, after all, we're the wine ladies.
We're in the kitchen, so what wine did you bring?
Well, for our girls' night out, we brought Girls' Night Out. I brought the Chardonnay. I brought the Merlot.
Well, my guy bought me this.
Too funny, the Rosé. Well, let the party begin.
Girls Night Out Wines. Hugely popular VQA wines best enjoyed with friends. Available at the LCBO and other fine retail locations. For more information, go to girlsnightoutwines.com.
Hey, Suzanne, it's the only machine that I need.
I know, it's a great workout in just a fraction of the time.
It made me get excited about workouts again.
T-Zone Vibration is making people sit up and take notice. Employing the newest technology and fitness equipment, T-Zone Vibration gives you an hour workout in just 10 minutes.
Try it, believe it. You'll want to bring one home.
T-Zone Vibration.
Call 905-483-8676. T-Zone Vibration, 905-483-8676. Beauty Med Spa is constantly researching the latest innovations from around the world and bringing them home to you. It's a wonderful meeting of Eastern philosophies of skin and body care with exciting and innovative Western technology. All the Beauty Med Spa health and wellness programs are medically supervised. A physician and dietitian are also available for client consultations. Beauty Med Spa. Inspire the nature of beauty. Visit inbeautyspa.com.
All right, so today's show is a little bit of a departure from the Wine Ladies, where we normally talk about wine most of the time. Today we're talking about bourbon, which happens to be all the rage with women out there. And we know we have a lot of ladies following us here, not only on Facebook and thewineladies.com. So it's a very appropriate topic, I think.
Indeed it is, and we're actually going to be enjoying our bourbon shortly with another one of our favorite loves, I would say, especially women, I think, love chocolate. We're going to be pairing our chocolate with our bourbon. But I think first, Jim, we're going to go to the next one that is now going from 40% now to 45%.
That's right.
And this is the small batch bourbon that
That's
you were
right.
talking about earlier.
And this is one that we use 4 of our recipes. And it's a genuine small batch bourbon in that to hit our flavor profile as close as we can hit it now, it will
Right.
never happen exactly, but it takes us 17 to 18 barrels of the 4 recipes to hit our flavor profile
Wow.
as close as
Really?
we can.
Wow.
So it is
Wow.
a genuine small batch. The barrels have been specially selected to be something special.
Okay.
And here
And
you
so
are.
there's a difference in the color there, right
Well,
away.
the color is going to be different now because it's more age.
Uh-huh.
Now this
concentrated.
averages about 6.5, about 7.5. So it's going to have more color that way. It also has less water added because this is 45% versus 40%.
Okay.
Now,
So
the
it will be
shape of the
darker.
bottle is very
Okay.
different from the first one. That's sort of kind of more of a female shape. Is
Well,
that been specifically designed
It's
like
a
that?
rosebud when you turn it upside down.
Oh, wow.
It's we're relatively new back. We were out of the U.S. market from about 1960 and just to about 8 years ago. And that's why we have such a strong presence in Europe and Asia. And as we've come back, we realized that we need to focus on premium bourbons and something unique in bottles. So this was just a unique bottle design to attract attention when someone walks into a store and on the shelf space.
Yeah, it's very
with the-
attractive. I like
with
it.
the labels around the embossed roses. Now our bottling line people love that when
It is.
when
It's
we
lovely.
first showed them what they would have to be
Beautiful.
doing.
Yeah.
So what should I be picking up here with this bourbon?
Now that's going to have a little more age, so it's should be a little bit more sweetness there.
Yes.
It also has there's 50% of our 2-grain recipes, whereas the yellow label will end up with about 23.5% rye grain, that rich and spiciness. This will have about 27.5% rye, so there'll be a little more spice,
Okay.
a little more sweetness.
In the nose
And-
right away, I noticed the sweetness. I love the smell of this one.
Very good.
More than the other one, I have to say. I find this one smells more rich,
Yeah, right.
and it's more like it smells a little bit sweeter. I don't know whether it's toffee or maybe it's the vanilla or caramel again, a little more enhanced than the first one. Like I haven't tasted it yet, but I went, ooh, I really like the
Right.
smell of that right away.
And toffee's another sweet character that you will see now and then.
Okay.
And we introduce
Give it a
each year
try.
some single barrel, limited edition single barrel, some very specially selected barrels, and in the fall, in September, a limited edition small batch. We always come up with something very special. And we're talking about chocolate just a minute ago. This
Yeah.
past limited edition small batch, one of the first characters, when I first brought that sample of what we ultimately approved for our limited edition small batch to my nose, the first thing I saw was chocolate. And there was some chocolate flavor in small batch, but not as much in this as there was in this past year.
Now, do you think a more richer chocolate with more cocoa in it would be better with this, or more of a milk style chocolate? Because we've got a whole variety of chocolate here. What would you recommend?
I don't think a very excessive amount of cocoa would be good. It would
Okay.
be overwhelming, but a little more than a milk chocolate. If you have something in
so
between,
yeah, we
we have
do.
one
perhaps.
Yeah.
that's supposed to go well with champagne. So maybe that would be the smooth dark might be a good
Right.
choice.
And
Champagne
chocolate does
and
go
pork,
very well
yeah.
with bourbon.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to give that. Why don't we?
Why don't we give it a try now?
Yeah, and
do we?
I want to tell everybody a little bit about this Brix chocolate,
Yes,
actually,
let's do
because
that.
It's an interesting story. First of all, Brix is a term that is used in the wine industry to determine the level of sugar in the grapes, for one thing. So it's kind of appropriate that they named it Brix, B-R-I-X. But it was a doctor, a pulmonologist actually from Ohio, that came up with the idea for this chocolate. He absolutely loved wine, and he wanted to take care of himself. He was really concerned with his health, and he enjoyed the antioxidants in wine, and thought, well, cheese and wine, cheese is not really that healthy. But he thought of pairing wine and chocolate, which he loved. He went around, tried a whole bunch of different chocolate, and couldn't really find anything that quite hit the mark. So he worked with somebody else, and they developed this Brix chocolate. They found this chocolate in Ghana, which happens to have a greater level of the sort of red berry fruit tones in it that seems to really, really work. And that's the main component in this chocolate, along with some Belgian chocolate. And he developed 4 different kinds of chocolate to pair specifically with different styles of wine.
So we might be inventing a line extension for them now. Brix chocolate with bourbon. Doesn't have to be
Exactly.
Brix and wine. It could be bourbon as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. So
We've got 4 different.
That's
I
kinda
think
cool.
you've picked the champagne sample, actually.
is that the right one, the
yeah,
champagne
you've
sample?
got the champagne sample.
Okay, so Jim, do you want to?
Here's the
that's
milk
the
one.
Okay, so we can open up a few of them.
And
and
we'll
try
leave
them.
the dark one. And we'll,
The dark one's probably, based on what Jim said,
Yes.
probably a little bit too high
Let's
in
go
cocoa
with the,
content.
Is that the dark?
This is the extra dark here. So this is the medium dark, and you've got the champagne one there.
Which is sort of one level
Yeah.
less cocoa
So
than
that
the
one,
darkest.
that's the one we
Okay.
think might go well with that. Why don't you give that a
Sure.
try?
Yeah.
I think this will go very well. See
Really?
what you think, but I think it'll go
all
very
right.
well with.
So that's the you've got the other one,
I've got the medium
the
dark.
medium dark. Let me try the one that Jim. It's just an excuse to eat all this great chocolate. and keep
good for
resampling the
you.
bourbon over
That's
and
right.
over again. Okay.
This is a rough life, eh?
I love the idea of pairing chocolate with different kinds of liqueurs and wines and spirits.
So bring that over here. Let's give
I'll
it
have
a
to
try.
bring it back over. There you go. You can go first.
So we always take a little bit of chocolate, put it in our mouth, let it melt.
Hurry up, mine's almost all gone. So that's the medium
That
dark.
is delicious.
Let me try.
Yeah, I could get into that. That's good.
And this is something that people really don't
That's
have
delicious.
normally
It truly
thought
is.
would really go well together.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Actually, they go excellent. They just really match up and pair well.
They do. That sort of enhances. I find it enhances the flavors of the bourbon a little bit more, and just a great marriage. I really enjoyed that. But that was with the champagne one. You have the other one.
Not the super dark, but the medium dark.
Yeah. Did you
So-
try them together, Jim?
I tried the.
Did you try
This
it
is
with
the champagne.
With it? Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Oh yes, I
champagne,
tried it with the bourbon.
Yeah, isn't
yes,
that lovely?
it's very good. Yes.
Wow.
Awesome. So we have to tell these bourbon professional women now, when they're doing their tastings, they should maybe incorporate a little bit of chocolate.
Well,
their
you know,
tastings.
you're talking chocolate and wines. You often match up, and we're talking about the wine tastings. There's bourbon tastings around the world right now. They're very similar. There are so many differences in flavors between distilleries and between brands within a distillery, and
Yeah.
especially with Four Roses with our
Yours.
different recipes.
Yeah.
And they're so very similar. Now, I'm not saying they taste similar because they don't,
Right.
but the comparisons are relatively the same. And some of the food pairings are very close. A lot of meals, you might want to start off with a cocktail, have wine during dinner, and end up with a bourbon that's served neat. And but it matches up so well with many different types of food,
Yeah.
and chocolate included.
That's great.
So let's get to the last bourbon that we're going to be enjoying this
Okay.
afternoon. What? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, now this is our single barrel bourbon, and we use consistently just one of the recipes.
Okay.
Now, we use a grain recipe now with our single barrel that has 35% rye,
Okay.
60% corn. That's more small flavoring grain, more than doubled any other bourbon that's on the market.
Wow.
To match up and to complement and balance that high rye, we've chosen a yeast for the single barrel that generates this very light and delicate fruity flavor. So the yeast will generate these light flavors, complements the rich, full-bodied, robust, spicy flavors generated by the yeast. And it's a perfect complement. We introduced this in September 2004. And the largest trade magazine in the world, it's a publication out of London called Whiskey Magazine. They conduct annually their Best of the Best Whiskeys of the World competition. When we introduced this, we were very late getting in the competition. Back when we introduced this in 2004, it was a 2-year process. And we got in very late, but we thought as we bring Four Roses back to the U.S., this will be a great way to jumpstart our marketing program
Right.
if we have a couple of writers that really find out that the bourbon that they tasted and evaluated and they really liked would mention 2 or 3 lines in whatever media they were
Right.
writing for. And when the winners were announced in March 2005, right out the gate, this won the best American whiskey under 10 years age. Right out
Wow.
the gate.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
it's won it
Great.
about ever since then.
Awesome.
So it's a rich in tradition, and although it's relatively young, it's won award after award. It's very different. It's totally different than any other bourbon because one reason's the high rye, 35% rye, the very spicy character content, which is very well balanced by the yeast that generates these very light and delicate flavors.
Okay. Wow, that's fantastic.
I'm just wondering, like we're having our mix and mingle on November the 17th, and
Yes.
it's all about wine, but I'm just wondering if we should do a little station of Four Roses bourbon with a little bit of chocolate and include that as part of our event. Because I know that you guys have graciously donated a beautiful basket of Four Roses for the event, but that might be a kind of a fun idea. We should think about that.
Okay, I think you're right. I think that's a great idea. Absolutely. All
It
right.
might be a good idea. Because you said it's mostly women that enjoy this right now.
The bourbon?
Yeah, it's mostly.
No, I'm not saying mostly.
no.
I'm saying there's more and more women
More and more, okay.
really appreciating bourbon and realizing that bourbon is a great whiskey, and it's been showcased by the premium brands.
Okay.
And Four Roses is, and I know I'm a touch biased and prejudiced, but Four
okay.
Roses is very good for our new drinkers, women or men. And the women to try it for the first time, I've had many tell me that I don't like bourbon, I never have, I can't drink bourbon. And someone with them may encourage them, well, just try it, just
Right.
sample it. I usually will let them try the yellow label because it's just light-bodied, and
Yeah.
and it's amazing how many will say, oh, I can drink this without a mix.
Right.
I can
Yeah.
drink it without ice even, or if they don't like it, put a little ice in it. And it's amazing how many women will enjoy bourbon just neat like this. But then you add it, bring in the cocktails and the various cocktails that are being mixed now, and it's just a great drink.
How
And
expensive is it, by the way, Jim? Because we haven't talked about the price points
we
of all of
haven't.
the bourbon.
We're brand new. We're just entered the market here, and this is priced at $28.95 a bottle
okay.
and $38.95 a bottle. Our single barrel will not be available until this coming March.
Okay.
So it's
Although
not yet
this show
available.
is an internet show, so it's basically people in the States are watching it. So this is available in the States, so this other
Oh,
one,
absolutely,
right?
all
so
three.
what would the price points be in the U.S.?
That's going to change from state to state.
okay.
Every state's
Right.
different. The regulations, the tax levels, they're all
Okay.
different. But it's generally about, from our yellow label to our small batch, will be about $8 difference, plus or minus a little bit. And from our small batch to our single barrel will be about $5 to $6 difference.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so let's go to another break, and we'll be
Okay.
back. I think we're going to try a cocktail made from bourbon next.
Hey, Georgia. Hey, Suzanne. Welcome to Girls Night Out. Did you remember the wine?
Of course, after all, we're the wine ladies.
We're in the kitchen, so what wine did you bring?
Well, for our girls' night out, we brought Girls' Night Out. I brought the Chardonnay. I brought the Merlot.
Well, my guy bought me this.
Too funny, the Rosé. Well, let the party begin.
Girls Night Out Wines. Hugely popular VQA wines best enjoyed with friends. Available at the LCBO and other fine retail locations. For more information, go to girlsnightoutwines.com.
Hey, Suzanne, it's the only machine that I need.
I know, it's a great workout in just a fraction of the time.
It made me get excited about workouts again.
T-Zone Vibration is making people sit up and take notice. Employing the newest technology and fitness equipment, T-Zone Vibration gives you an hour workout in just 10 minutes.
Try it. Believe it. You'll want to bring one home.
T-Zone Vibration.
Call 905-483-8676. T-Zone Vibration, 905-483-8676. InBeauty Med Spa is constantly researching the latest innovations from around the world and bringing them home to you. It's a wonderful meeting of Eastern philosophies of skin and body care with exciting and innovative Western technology. All the InBeauty Med Spa health and wellness programs are medically supervised. A physician and dietitian are also available for client consultations. InBeauty Med Spa. Inspire the nature of beauty. Visit inbeautyspa.com.
All right, Georgia, we neglected to try the last bourbon
No,
before
I
we
was
get
just
into the
saving it for
cocktails.
myself completely after the show, but you guys noticed, so oh well. I guess we'll all have
Pass
to
it
try.
over.
All right, here we go. Okay, so this is now the big enchilada. This
The
is
single barrel.
The single barrel.
Right.
Yep.
The top dog.
So and more rye, you said. So we're going to look for more
It has
spice.
a lot more rye. It
Yeah.
has 35% rye. We could actually add 16% rye grain, take that out of corn. We have a straight rye whiskey with this bourbon.
Oh, you would,
And there's
eh?
no other bourbon that's made like this.
Oh, okay.
Smells, I don't know if you can smell it being smooth, but it seems like it's going to be a very smooth drink.
It's a sensation. I know I've heard that rye is quite a bit on the rise as well in
It is.
popularity. Is you know
Straight rye whiskeys are,
Uh-huh.
and this is the closest bourbon on the market to a straight rye.
right? Okay.
Another winner, delicious.
Yeah. So we're looking for different spices now because it's the different yeast.
Right. Well,
So-
it's just more rye. Now
More
the-
rye, okay.
Right.
But
And the
this yeast was not
the
used in
we
this
use
yeast, or
is
was it?
not,
No.
And this yeast generates such light, delicate flavors that
Okay.
will allow more of the spice of the rye to show through in this.
Okay. Hence you said like the light fruit
Right.
tones come from the specific yeast.
Exactly.
That allows for that. Okay. I was really listening. You know, I'm having a really good lesson here too. Wow, there's a big difference. Woo.
Yeah, total.
Woo,
That's
big difference.
50%.
Wow.
So it's you're tasting. I can tell you're seeing the difference in the
Yes.
alcohol strength.
Yes, I am.
A true bourbon drinker, and I do tastings all the time, and it's amazing. And I can never wipe the smile off my face when it happens. But I'll often ask a bourbon drinker that hasn't tried Four Roses if they have a favorite. I'm not going to compare
No.
the bourbons. I never have, never will. Said a
Yeah.
negative word about another bourbon. But by knowing the brand, I know the strength. And let's say it's a 43 or 45%. And I'll ask them, well, relative to your favorite bourbon, would you guess this to be about the same strength, a little more, a little less?
Okay.
Well over 80% of these are bourbon drinkers now would guess this between 40 and 43%.
Oh.
And when I tell them it's 50%,
50.
it's just amazing.
Wow. Well, it is very spicy. I have to say,
It
I can
is.
feel the spice all over my palate. And also, I do sense it is a little bit higher, I think, in alcohol. I'm not used
Oh,
to
yes,
that.
it is.
Yeah,
It
you
is.
sense it. But wow, that's a real powerhouse of a drink, I have to say. It's all over my palate, full of spice, really, really nice.
Well, we should get into the cocktail because we're almost at the end of the show.
Oh,
So
okay.
What do we have here as a
Okay,
cocktail?
this is just a way to illustrate just the versatility of bourbon as a mixer. And what we have here is just taking a traditional drink made with a different spirit and substituted bourbon. Now
Okay.
this, we call this a rosarita, and that gives away right away. It's a margarita, and instead of the tequila, we've used our yellow label bourbon here.
Oh,
And we've made a very simple drink rather than mix it. Of course, we don't have the all the ingredients and a bar to mix it. But we've taken a margarita mix, taken 2 parts margarita mix, 1 part bourbon, and mixed it with ice. Added just a little dash of grenadine, and then garnished with red maraschino cherry.
Okay, it's very nice, very pretty to look at. Yeah. Should we give it a shot?
It makes me want to go to the beach.
Oh, you know what?
Is it going to be on the
I think
sweet
I should
side?
stir
or-
it because
I can tell
yeah,
it's separated out
it's
there.
separated a little bit. I'm probably not getting
We
the
don't have
full
any stir
sensation of the
sticks.
flavor, so I know this is a little bit short as a stir stick.
So it's made with instead of tequila, you put
Right.
bourbon
We
in it.
use instead of the tequila, we have our yellow label bourbon, and it's a fabulous, actually a fabulous drink, and it's
Very
got a lot of
refreshing.
flavor. Very refreshing drink.
Yeah.
And
Not
it's just
too
amazing.
sweet either.
Yeah, it's amazing
like it.
how it doesn't sound good. When you think about a margarita with bourbon, that doesn't sound
you-
good, but
yeah.
it's amazing the flavor there.
You got to think outside the box sometimes,
Exactly.
right?
I think that's
Absolutely.
quite good.
Yeah.
Give it a try.
Yes, I'll give it another shot. Yeah. Sure, yeah.
Well, we've certainly taken a different adventure with the show today.
That
It's
is
been
nice.
it's been most fascinating.
Yeah, you know, maybe what we didn't touch upon, maybe just quickly we can sort of tell everybody, how is bourbon made? Like, what's the process? Can we get into that? Or is that like a really long
We only have a few moments.
dissertation? Well, I guess
Well,
the basic
Just
I-
in general.
It's that would take a couple of hours show, but
Yeah.
you know we get grains. We use the corn as a primary grain.
Yeah.
Corn, the rye, the wheat. They're starches, and we use the industry uses malted barley to break down those starches. Just the analogy I often use is that if you take a bite of bread or a potato in your mouth, the enzymes in your mouth in a heartbeat break down these starch molecules to small molecules which are sugar for nutrients for our body.
Okay.
Malted barley acts the same way. That converts these starches to sugar.
Yeah.
We cook the grains. We transfer it to large vats. We cool the temperature down to maybe 65 degrees Fahrenheit.
Is that what it's called, mash? Is that,
The-
at what
it's-
point is it called mash?
It's mashing in as we cook.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
mash. So we
Okay.
transfer it to a large vat. We add yeast. We've converted the starches to sugar. Yeast is a living organism that consumes the sugar as its food source. Takes about little over 3 days, 80 plus or minus hours for the fermentation process for the yeast to consume all the sugar.
Right, okay.
Then we've generated in that process about 8% alcohol. We run it through a column still to first separate the alcohol. We take it up to 65%. The second step of distillation, bourbon's 2-step distillation, is a pot still.
Okay.
We call it doubler, but we increase the strength another 5%. And so we're at 70% roughly. That's our way,
Four
our
Roses way
distillation
of doing it.
process.
Okay.
And other distillers use different strengths.
Right.
Then we're ready to put it in a barrel. We reduce the strength down to 60% alcohol, fill the
Okay.
barrels. The magic begins as we put the barrels away, aging for 6 to 12 years or longer. And that's it in a nutshell, as quick as I can
Wow,
say.
that was well done. Okay.
There's a test after.
Is
Did
there?
you get all that?
I think so. I think I did, actually. And so we've heard that you've said that you don't believe in overaging bourbon.
Well, bourbon is not like Scotch.
Yeah.
Bourbon will peak in maturity between 5 and 8 years. And what happens with bourbon, because we use a new barrel, and bourbon is supposed to be a sweeter distilled spirit. It's unlike some of the drier distilled spirits, like Scotch. And I'm not saying anything bad against anything.
Right, yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
And after those sugars have been depleted in the wood, then the bourbon in the barrel will begin to pick up too much of the wood character itself, become
Okay,
dry,
right.
a little bit of woody taste and a little bit of harshness, and it's just not what a typical bourbon should be.
Okay.
The peak of performance between 5 and 8, you can really get some really nice older bourbons that are maturing longer and slower.
Okay.
Every barrel doesn't mature the same. One bourbon's barrel sitting side by side another. One may be finished in 6 years, and one may be finished in 9 or 10 years.
Oh, okay.
And
It's
that's
like
just
we
part
don't
of the
all
art.
age the same.
That's right. That's
And the
right.
last, but not least question, the Kentucky, the mint julep. What's the recipe? I'm sure you can make that with the 4 Roses.
There's so many mint julep recipes. In fact, during the Derby week, we have a rose julep contest. Of course, it's a mint julep made with 4 Roses bourbon, and the restaurants, the bars in Louisville and surrounding areas will compete, and they're all different. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Now, I've been asked a question before, and I remember the first time I was on a TV show, and the host asked me, how do I make a mint julep? It was around Derby time. I said, well, I go out, you need shaved ice, that works best with a mint julep rather than crushed. Save your shaved ice and make perhaps a simple syrup with some
Sugar and water.
Well, sugar, water, some lime and lemon, some spices perhaps, like a cinnamon. You can do so many different ways.
Versions.
Make a simple syrup. And so then I go out in the backyard behind the barn. And I don't have a farm, but to pick some fresh mint that's growing. And we come in, and so I have my bourbon bottle, put some bourbon in a glass, and sit back and enjoy thinking about mixing the drink. That's it. That's my mint julep over ice. And I'll think about the mint. Or I might wave a mint leaf over it.
That sounds good to me. I've never had a mint julep, actually. Have you ever had one?
I don't think so, but
I
I think
haven't
I want
either.
one now.
And I'll go for Jim's. I think
I'd like to
a
go
little
to the
bit of
Kentucky
that.
Derby. That would be fun. When is that?
It is.
What
It's
part?
always the first Saturday of May.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
okay. Put that in your calendar there, girl.
I will. Put it in my BlackBerry.
It's,
All right.
must see it at least once. It's fabulous. And
You have to get your hat, your Kentucky
absolutely.
Derby hats, and
absolutely your derby hat
absolutely.
that you pay a fortune for and wear once.
Because you can't be seen in the same hat at another derby, right?
That's right. That's right.
Oh, we'll put that on our bucket list.
All right, Jim. Well,
Kentucky
thank
Derby.
you so much for coming in and
And when
sharing
you come
all
to the
this.
Derby, come see us.
Oh, we'd love
for
to.
Get a
sure.
personal tour. I'd love to show you around.
I might even
Thank
wear
you so
a
much.
corsage with 4 Roses for somebody.
You got to
Sounds
get
good.
a
I
proposal first, girl.
Well, we work
That
on.
wouldn't be too hard.
We can work on that from now until May, maybe. All right, Jim. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed your time here in
Oh,
Toronto.
I certainly did. Thank you very much.
All right.
It was great to
Very
meet
much
you.
appreciate it, and bringing 4 Roses to Ontario's fabulous.
Our pleasure. Thank you so
you.
much. Okay.
And right after the show, just keep watching because we've got some great ideas with the bricks, chocolate, and wine pairings as well.
Hey, Georgia. Hey, Suzanne. Welcome to Girls Night Out. Did you remember the wine?
Of course, after all, we're the wine ladies.
We're in the kitchen, so what wine did you bring?
Well, for our girls' night out, we brought Girls' Night Out. I brought the Chardonnay. I brought the Merlot.
Well, my guy bought me this.
Too funny, the Rosé. Well, let the party begin.
Girls Night Out Wines. Hugely popular VQA wines best enjoyed with friends. Available at the LCBO and other fine retail locations. For more information, go to girlsnightoutwines.com.
Hey, Suzanne, it's the only machine that I need.
I know, it's a great workout in just a fraction of the time.
It made me get excited about workouts again.
T-Zone Vibration is making people sit up and take notice. Employing the newest technology and fitness equipment, T-Zone Vibration gives you an hour workout in just 10 minutes.
Try it. Believe it. You'll want to bring one home.
T-Zone Vibration.
Call 905-483-8676. T-Zone Vibration, 905-483-8676. InBeauty Med Spa is constantly researching the latest innovations from around the world and bringing them home to you. It's a wonderful meeting of Eastern philosophies of skin and body care with exciting and innovative Western technology. All the InBeauty Med Spa health and wellness programs are medically supervised. A physician and dietitian are also available for client consultations. InBeauty Med Spa. Inspire the nature of beauty. Visit inbeautyspa.com.
Hi, everybody, it's us, the Wine Ladies.
I'm Georgia.
And I'm Suzanne, and you know what, Georgia? The holidays are just around the corner, and whether you're buying for personal use or corporation, we have got some fantastic holiday gift-giving ideas for you right here today.
Absolutely, and I want to say one thing to start things off. Move over cheese, because we've got some incredible chocolate now to pair with your wines, which is being done more and more now around the world, actually.
It's gotten very, very popular.
Absolutely.
So why don't we tell them a little bit about the art of pairing wine with chocolate?
Okay, absolutely. First of all, I want to start things off again, if I may, with saying the chocolate that we have here was actually specifically developed by a doctor from Ohio, a pulmonologist, that loved red wine and loved to take care of himself. Let's put it that way, take care of his health. And he wanted to find some kind of chocolate that's also full of antioxidants that would really pair well with the wines. So he found that this Brix chocolate was developed. He found some chocolate from Ghana, actually, that has really rich red fruit tones, that when mixed with some Belgian chocolate, he came up with 4 recipes to pair with 4 different kinds of chocolate. And it's unbelievable.
That's right, we've got the extra dark chocolate, we've got the medium dark, we've got chocolate that's been designed specifically to go with champagne, and of course milk chocolate. So you've got 4 different styles, and these Brix chocolates come in 8-ounce bars. These are only $13.95 a bar. What a bargain. And then we also have a package here. It's called the Brix Collection for $27.50. You've got 4 ounces of each of the different types of chocolate included, all with wine pairing wine pairing recipes and combinations.
Exactly. And just a couple of words maybe when you're pairing your wines with your chocolate, try to remember to try to pick wines that are more youthful, that have like a good fruit character in them, not too much earth or too many spicy tones. They tend to go better with the chocolate. And anything from a port that will go beautifully, port and champagnes actually go really, really beautifully with the one that we've opened up here, the smooth dark chocolate. And then there's also wines here that go, big Cabernets and Barolos go really well with the extra dark chocolate. So there are certain wines to pair with each of these, running the total array no matter what your taste in either wine or in chocolate.
And why not create a fantastic looking gift with the ice bag here. You can put a bottle of wine, the matching chocolate, and it doubles as a wine cooler as well. You don't have to wrap, just add a ribbon, and this is perfect. You could even put your logo on there for you corporate clients. So this is one of our great holiday gift ideas for you from the Wine Ladies. And you can get more information from thewineladies.com or visit the Wine Ladies Facebook fan page for details. Happy holidays, everyone.
Cheers, everybody.
Hey, Georgia. Hey, Suzanne. Welcome to Girls Night Out. Did you remember the wine?
Of course, after all, we're the Wine Ladies.
We're in the kitchen, so what wine did you bring?
Well, for our Girls Night Out, we brought Girls Night Out. I brought the Chardonnay. I brought the Merlot.
Well, my guy bought me this.
Too funny, the Rosé. Well, let the party begin.
Girls Night Out Wines. Hugely popular VQA wines best enjoyed with friends. Available at the LCBO and other fine retail locations. For more information, go to girlsnightoutwines.com. InBeautyMed Spa is constantly researching the latest innovations from around the world and bringing them home to you. It's a wonderful meeting of Eastern philosophies of skin and body care with exciting and innovative Western technology. All the InBeautyMed Spa health and wellness programs are medically supervised. A physician and dietitian are also available for client consultations. InBeautyMed Spa. Inspire the nature of beauty. Visit InBeautySpa.com.
Hey, Suzanne, it's the only machine that I need.
I know, it's a great workout in just a fraction of the time.
It made me get excited about workouts again.
T-Zone Vibration is making people sit up and take notice. Employing the newest technology and fitness equipment, T-Zone Vibration gives you an hour workout in just 10 minutes.
Try it. Believe it. You'll want to bring one home.
T-Zone Vibration.
Call 905-483-8676. T-Zone Vibration, 905-483-8676. In Beauty Med Spa is constantly researching the latest innovations from around the world and bringing them home to you. It's a wonderful meeting of Eastern philosophies of skin and body care with exciting and innovative Western technology. All the In Beauty Med Spa health and wellness programs are medically supervised. A physician and dietitian are also available for client consultations. In Beauty Med Spa. Inspire the nature of beauty. Visit inbeautyspa.com.